in your soul, transformation guided by my hand. Forge master of immortals, I turn the wheels of time, leave the darkness under my command. Sophisticated smile, made sharper than a knife. This blood is an elixir for a natural desires. Oh, have a taste of death. Take a life from the living. No eternal rest. For the unforgiving, legends walk in the veil of night. Kingdoms fall with a single bite. Have a taste of death. Blow out the torches, a tapestry of fire. The mirror mocks the life I had. 1,000 years of exile behind these castle walls. Into the night, my thoughts are growing mad. Sophisticated smile, made sharper than a knife. This blood is an elixir for a natural desire. Give roses to the victims. I only pay the price to be the master of a nightmare in a beautiful disguise. What's made will be made undone. I pray to God that the day will come. Oh, have a taste of death. Take a life from the living. No eternal rest. For the unforgiving, legends walk in the veil of night. Kingdoms fall with a single bite. Have a taste of death. What's made will be made undone. Kingdoms fall with a single bite. Just one little taste of. It's a life worth living. Oh, have a taste of death. Take a life from the living. Oh, no eternal rest. For the unforgiving, legends walk in the veil of night. Kingdoms fall with a single bite. Have a taste of death. It's a life worth living. You feel it in your body, a poison in your soul, transformation guided by my hand. Forge master of immortals, I turn the wheels of time, leave the darkness under my command. Sophisticated smile, made sharper than a knife. This blood is an elixir for a natural desires. Oh, have a taste of death. Take a life from the living. No eternal rest. For the unforgiving, legends walk.
All right. Hello. Good morning. This is Grant. live right now with Veil of the Eternal Night. Not quite 100% yet. Just going to be honest with you. I have come down with some terrible, terrible sickness this last week. Um, Slept for quite a few days, and I'm vertical. I'm sitting. You can kind of see the lack of whatever, but here I am. We're doing this. I am absolutely uh I'm absolutely ready to do this. I was sad that I had to reschedule Fridays, but would have been much, 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 much worse than it's going to be today. So I just want to give everyone a few minutes to filter in and hop on the stream. Is it vampirism? Um, no. I wish it was vampirism and I could just drain someone and feel better, but the only thing that's draining is we don't have to get into that. We don't have to make those kind of jokes here. That's not what today's about, is it? Um it's not COVID either. Interestingly enough, um my daughter got it and then my wife got it and then I got it. And there is we all tested and we all tested negative. Um, I think it's just a flu. I don't know. I feel really old. I've had the flu before, and I've never like just slept for like 3 days. Maybe I'm just getting older. I don't know. But I was unable to think, and I was just laying around, doing all that good stuff. So I've commented on the Kickstarter, which I know sends people a message. Um, I don't I don't know about embedding a live YouTube video on the actual Kickstarter page. Like, I don't know what happens when and if I do that. Is it actually going to show? I guess I could just try it and then just take it down afterwards. Lots of orange juice. Yeah, I have those little 1,000 milligram like packets of vitamin C, and I have just been I've been like snorting those. I've been like doing lines of the vitamin C packets. I've been doing like 4 of those a day. Lots of yeah, like, I don't know. It was the tiredness, and it's so hard being sick with sick kids. One thing they don't, when you're little, you're sick, you just kind of like go with it. But oh, I have an important question. I'm in the midst of building a new computer, probably missed the Kickstarter deadline. Um, I think we'll probably keep the book stocked. I think that the plush will stay stocked. Dice will probably be gone when they're gone. The alt cover will be gone when it's gone. All the pins will be gone when they're gone. A lot of that extra stuff is Kickstarter exclusive, and then the pricing right now is the big thing. So the prices that you get for the goods right now is like unbeatable. Like the collector's edition is like $600 worth of shit, and it's like 350 right now. So as far as the book and stuff goes, though, we'll keep the book stocked probably indefinitely. Uh, but a lot of it is just going to be Kickstarter exclusive. It's hard to know what's going to be popular and what's not, and what's going to keep stocked. I like not restocking the dice. I like the idea of the dice being like limited run, like especially since they're unique and they have the our designs and our logos on them and stuff. I like the idea of like we make those dice for Kickstarter and then uh they're gone. I don't it like raises the collectability of it to me. Um Might have to delay building my computer. I mean, don't don't do anything you can't afford to do. I am just trying to be honest about what's gonna stick around. Let me take a look at what we've got here. The tarot probably won't keep stocked. We'll probably print some extras and then sell those until they're gone. The books will keep stocked, like I said, not the alt covers. Dice are going to be a limited run. The pins are going to be Kickstarter exclusive. The plush will keep stocked. I'm feeling pretty confident about sticking with plushies. The character journals will probably be gone when they're gone. The dice trays will be gone when they're gone. Yeah, a lot of it is Kickstarter stuff. But I think the most important thing to think about is just the pricing. It's really, 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 really hard to beat some of these prices. And the reason we can price them so low is because we're not keeping this stuff stocked. Like we're ordering what people order. That's why, when you're buying something from a store, it costs them, $10 to make it. They're charging you 30. Um, you're buying stock that they invested in years ago. And so like they have a certain range of money they want to make back on that over time. But like for the Kickstarter, I mean, we're ordering what you guys order. So we have to make sure people get paid. We have to make sure artists get paid. We have to make sure that we have enough to produce the actual goods and stuff like that. But we're not investing in like long-term stock. So it's why the pricing is so aggressive. Same with pre-orders. Pre-orders are always easier to sell than orders because you're not buying inventory. Behind the scenes business with Grant. I don't know why any of you wanted to know any of that. Um, selling it for 5K. Yeah, get that last Dracula's court spot. Um, come to any decisions on the extra classes? What do you mean? Hair of Azarin, what do you mean decisions on extra classes? I am happy to answer that question, but I don't understand it. Like, are we gonna move some of them up? Are we gonna add more? Are we gonna what do you want? What do you want to know? Any chance of getting this is a design stream, guys. What's with the queue? Do you guys need me to go live more? Is this what's happening? Maybe that's the thing. I need to go live and answer questions more often. You guys were ready to go. Um, so character journals as PDF for printing at home. Um, the journals themselves. Okay, yeah. Maybe not the 5e, but I think that so there will be extra. I'm so sorry about the noises I'm going to make today. It's just going to happen. If you don't like bodily fluid noises, um, go away. It's going to happen, and I'm doing my best. uh, the character journals, there will be an extra sheet for psych talents and for sanity, and that will be available for free for sure. So there'll be a kind of like an expanded character sheet of the MythCraft version. The character journals themselves, we're probably not going to format a PDF in a way that fits into those little character collectible notebooks and stuff. Um, Pierre, that would involve me sleeping, and it's been me laying around unable to sleep for a week. That's being sick, right? You do nothing but sleep, but you didn't sleep. So the character journals, the sheets, yes, will be available for free, but the actual journals probably not. Those are probably just going to be for print because um they're going to be little like collectible notebooks. They're really cool. I don't know if you guys have ever had them or had journals like them or had like field notes. They're really cool because you kind of take them, you build a character in them, you keep your notes, you keep your inventory or your doodles or whatever that might look like. And then it's only ever that character in that book, and then it's just kind of your memory of that character, especially for people who don't like do minis. A lot of people do a mini for every character. A lot of people do dice for every character. This to me is just another way of doing that, especially for people who are more, they write more or they like having notebooks. I've always loved having notebooks. I've always kept notebooks. Um, I always am jotting down ideas and sketching down little ideas and stuff like that. So I found I it was a better like memory to my characters to have a little player journal than it was to have like dice and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited about those. They come in little 2 packs. Um, never made anything like that before, and I haven't seen a ton of stuff like it out there, so I think it's kind of cool that there will be a MythCraft version of it because there's D&D versions of it. But I don't know. I just like that our MythCraft people will have some extra little stuff too. Um, catch up with those. Catch up with the big guys. Um, yeah. Wow, that was a lot of questions. A lot of. Hope you get some rest after the rush is over. Um, I mean, toxic mentality, but like I don't want to rest. I just don't want to be tired anymore. Does that make sense? I don't like sleeping. I don't like any of that. I hope all the stretch goals get reached. I would be sad to miss more subclasses. I will. Let me take a look at the stretch goal. My secret. I'm not sharing my screen, right? I'm not. Okay. I'm gonna take a look at my stretch goals and see what y'all are missing. Super secret document here. Um. Okay. Okay. Ooh, man, that's sad. You guys want to we 500 is my goal at this point. 700, I'd tell you, will be really cool. I think you guys would really have liked the 700K stretch goal. And it could still happen. You know what I mean? Like Kickstarters take off in the last few days sometimes. Um, man, there's lots of cool stuff in here. Yeah, there's no subclasses though. We don't have any more subclasses planned. The last uh, class that we have at this juncture, not to say, that couldn't change if everything started exploding and we had a really good idea. But at this juncture, the last player option that is unlocked unlocks at $480,000, and it is the Apostate Cleric. And I will say that if we stick with it and we, you know, are active in Discord and we comment on the Kickstarter and we share it with people and so on and so forth. If we can really just keep up the hype about this, post on Twitter, repost on Twitter, quote, tweet, like the stuff on social media, tag people. Like if we can do all the stuff, you know what I mean, that blows things up. I think that the 480K Apostate Cleric is in reach. I don't see any reason at this juncture why we couldn't. My math on that too is well, so let's see where we're at right now. We've got let's get to Kick Track. So Kick Track is a little aggressive, and they don't really project based on a bump at the end, but like Backer Tracker does. So if you let me get my screen here shared for you guys. I can remove my little extra stuff there. So we'll go into Veil of the Eternal Night and go into our daily data here. And you'll see. So my goal was to be around the 7K a day range. Didn't quite stick with it. It happens. We had a lot of cancellations last week, which is always hard. It happened the first one. I've talked to peers. It happens to them a lot. So people cancel for whatever reason. A lot of times those people come back near the end, but people drop pledges. It's usually people for whatever reason. I don't know why people do this. They go in the first day and they'll pledge at a really high tier. They'll pledge at like special counsel or all in, and then mid campaign they like cancel it. So I don't know if it's buyer's remorse or if it's they're just trying to see how the campaign does. Like they're like, okay, well, let me get in at the early bird price and then see how the campaign does. And if it does 1 million and we unlock all this extra stretch goal stuff, then I got it for a really good price. Or I don't know. I don't really know what the concept is, but we see a lot of people drop off the like second and it's usually the second week. I think for MythCraft it was more the third week. Like we went a long time without drop offs. Then we had people drop off on that third week. But last week we had a lot of people drop off. We had one day where I was worried we weren't even going to profit, which made me nervous. And I felt like I couldn't do anything about it because I was like sleeping, and I was like, gotta get up, gotta post places. I gotta get in Discord. I need to go live. I need to do something, but I couldn't. I couldn't do anything. So, um, today we're at about 1,300. Really, my new goal is to get that up to around 4 a day. Excuse me. So we've got 9 days to go. So 3 of those are going to be, well, we'll call 2 of those post end campaign, which is going to be the last like 36 hours of a campaign. A lot of campaigns do about 25% of their funding in the last 36 hours. So let's look at an older one. Let's look at like Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt here. Great Kickstarter, a little slow to get out, but you'll see here at the end, Steinhardt's does well, and I mean they just did really well during the campaign. I don't know how you um this is something I don't quite know if it was just really popular or if it was just the content creator nature of Monkey DM, how he knew how to stay on top of it and keep putting out content every day and to keep marketing it and stuff like that. Um the But you'll note here, so they did 2.6 million. The last 3 days usually have about 25% of the Kickstarter's funding. So right here you're looking at about 500 something thousand dollars of this 26 million. They had a big bump at the end. So let's look at like Crooked Moon. I think that's the biggest 5e Kickstarter so far. So Crooked Moon, the last 36 hours, you'll see that they did where's my calculator? You guys can't see my calculator. So they did what, 430 plus 241 plus 184. So they did about 25% um of their total funding in the last few days. So yeah, a lot of things happen at the end of the campaign. One is people get a reminder from Kickstarter. If they follow the campaign, it will say, hey, a campaign that you followed is ending soon. It also shows up in the ending soon list on the discovery page of Kickstarter. It's also just the mental idea of the campaign ending. So people that have been watching it, people who've been following it, people who are kind of making that decision, they do so at the end. I think there's all sorts of things going on there at the end. Some of it is organic, some of it is algorithmic, like some of it is the uh, being up higher on the discovery. Once it starts trending, it will show up in the ending soon side higher, so on and so forth. And then yeah, you get all of that final hour messaging, that sweet, sweet, sweet final hour messaging. You can send out emails. Kickstarter will send out emails. You can, retarget. You can go back through everyone who's viewed the Kickstarter but hasn't pledged. You can retarget them, which means you can show them like ads that are different than someone who might be showing someone who has never looked at it before. So I'm saving up a lot of pixel data. I'm saving up a lot of metadata from people who have looked at the page but haven't pledged. And then I will shoot a ton. I'll advertise to them heavily near the end, saying that it's their last chance. So anyways, looking at where we're at right now, we're at 727 or 376. And I think we'll probably, if we can stick to 4K for the next 6 days, then we can add 24 to that, which means that we are at 400. And then all we need to do from there is meet that 25% final 36 hours. So that's where my math is coming from. So if we can do better than that on any of these next few days, or if we can for sure hit that 25% final funding number, then we will get to 500K and we'll unlock that last stretch goal. So, projections wise, if you look at a projection from Kick Track, they're going to say the opposite. They're going to say 390 to 419, which is just based on the average daily votes. So you kind of see the line here. And they don't account for the spike at the end. And then if you look at something like Backer Tracker, there we go. Just pull mine right up here. They're going to account for the uptick at the end. Backer Tracker is way better than Kick Track. I like Kick Track's interface, but they're usually a lot more accurate. So we're trending towards 515, and we could be in the somewhere in the range of 600. I also learned from Kickstarter that we're going to be in their newsletter on February 27th. So this is not the reminder email. This is not the project launched email. This is not a discovery email. This is their actual fucking newsletter. So we're featured in their newsletter, and that can be a big bump for projects. I've seen stories where that's a big bump for people. I don't know if it will be for us, just because of the niche. You know what I mean? It's very, it's very specifically vampiric. But if we get that bump from the newsletter, we get that retargeting going really hard. We get everyone, everyone talking about it, everyone sharing, everyone making content, everyone TikToking, everyone Twittering and reposting, and we get the buzz going. We could hit, we could hit 500. We could hit beyond 500. I think we will hit 500. But that's not why we're here today, is it? What time is it? It's 10:22. I have jawed for long enough. Um, we're here to discuss the stretch goal, which is at 360,000. I agreed to live stream a design for a mythic creature. Um, and I gave you guys a few choices. A lot of D&D players do like demons and vampires. That is true. But you're taking a niche, right? So 362 million people in the world. Your Kickstarter audience is a few million. Let's call it 3 million. D&D audience is how many people are playing D&D these days? 28. How many people play D&D in the U.S.? 13.7 million people worldwide, but I don't know. That's not U.S. Okay, we'll call it 12 million. So we'll call it 12 million in the US, and then we're overlapping that with people who are comfortable using something like Kickstarter. Your audience for a TTRPG Kickstarter is about your total affectable market is like 60,000 people. So if you get beyond that, you're going to be the most funded Kickstarter of all of D&D Kickstarter of all time. I think was Crooked Moon, and I think they hit a solid like 20% of the market available to them. Let's see what they got. Yeah, 21. So 21,793. Small number when you think about the number of people in the United States. You think about the number of buyers, blah blah blah. But Crooked Moon. I mean, if you're a avid Kickstarterer, and you are an avid D&D player, there is a 1 out of every 3 of those people backed Crooked Moon. This is about as good as you can hope to do. 20% is a huge chunk of the market. So that's why you see such a huge success here. That's why you see $4 million. So, we're working our way up there. MythCraft, people don't know what MythCraft is. People look, they see MythCraft, and I think a lot of them, the second they see something they don't recognize, they head out. That's where we're at. So, a good question. I don't know why I'm going into all my marketing stuff. This is a QuasiReal stream, not a Vala marketing stream. The thing that we did here is set up 4 possible monsters. Um, I loved all of these babies. It was hard to put them out there because one, I don't want to just make them all anyways and then make the vote not have mattered. I don't like that. I like the idea that like the vote matters, which you choose matters. And it's not, it's not a meaningless illusion of choice. Uh this is, so people have said, hey, will we make the rest of them? And I was like, oh, I'll think about it. I have thought about it. I really don't think we should though, because next time I come to you with a vote, you're gonna be like, oh, it doesn't really matter. Grant will just give it to us anyways. uh I won't. I will murder all 3 of my other children here because you picked who you picked. So looking at the votes, I my method for counting the votes was really interesting, because I refused to just count them like a human, because that's not how my brain works. So what I did was I copied all of the data, and I also wound up including the some of the comments that were not replies, just because there were a significant amount of people that commented below my comment, and I just worry that like I don't want to punish people for not understanding the platform. There's this little tiny reply icon here, but like there's this post comment thing right here. So if I'm, reading this comment and then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to type here and hit it, that makes UX sense. That makes sense to me. So I'm not going to punish people for doing that instead of coming down here and clicking this little icon, which I don't even know if that looks like a reply icon to me. It looks like a fucking share icon, but that's how you reply. And 220 of you figured it out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then we had a lot of people down here. So I copied all the data. I realized that people put it in a different way each time. So some people, wrote it out. Some people did a number. Some people did, number sign and then set it. So then I went through and I had all of the data scraped to isolate either a number or a choice. And then I correlated all of the word numbers to a numerical choice. And then I had a list of numbers. Now, some of you made it really, really fucking difficult to count quickly because you had mentioned several of them in your response. And so I said, this is all programming speak, but I said, I'm only going to go with your first answer. I should have said, I'm going to go with the first thing you mentioned because some of you wrote multiple. The most interesting to me is Leshy. Okay, so this person's vote is for Leshy or Lashai, right? I can't find one like right now that I'm talking about it, but there would be people who would say, I really want this one, but I'm gonna choose this one. And that was really hard. Here you go. So this Stephen Clark, love you, Stephen. Um, I will tell you that this nearly broke my script because if any of you know anything about computer programming and then telling a computer to guess what vote this was supposed to be, was pretty funny because he's torn between he set it up like a word problem. He's torn between option 1 and 2. Though 3 could be fun. Darn it all, I vote 2. So yeah, this was anyways, long story short, um as far as mentions go, uh it was a little bit closer than you would expect. Um Jack the Ripper won by a pretty significant amount. I think he got about 49% of the votes or something like that. Um, but mentions wise, Lashai didn't get as many votes, but he got mentioned a lot. So Lashai was the one I wanted to do. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That was my boy. I really wanted to do a swamp vampire. I really wanted to do some bayou, weird Appalachian shit. I wanted to do some like giant fucking mosquitoes and crocodiles and like a swamp type lair. Alas, it was not meant to be. I was told I made Jack the Ripper sound too interesting in my little pitch. I tried to make them all sound interesting in the pitch. Uh, Ragnar and Ragnar was interesting. Ragnar started strong and then fell off. So he got a lot of votes to start. And I think he ended around like 45 or something like that. Um, Jeziaga and Ragnar didn't do great. I think with Ragnar, a lot of people felt like it had been done before. Um, I disagree. I think people are jerks, and I don't think it's been done too much. I think you saw it done in an anime one time, and that's not too much. That's not even the same thing. So fuck you guys. No, I'm joking. So Jack the Ripper, I guess, is the one I made sound too interesting. I said this is my idea for a Moriarty plus Jack the Ripper matchup. Specialized mechanic will be a plug and play one shot murder mystery, ending with a challenging fight against a mastermind assassin. I don't feel like that's overly pitchy to me. I don't, that like that's not a pitch. I'll pitch you. You want me to pitch you? I'll pitch you all day. That's not a pitch. Um, that's a description. Now, Lashai, I use more colorful language. I think that's a pitch. I could call Lashai a pitch because I was pitching Lashai. Uh, Jezzy Yaga also is a little bit more pitchy. So I disagree that Jack the Ripper was pitchy. Whoever said that to me, you're my enemy, and you're gonna be the murder victim of this. I'm joking. So yeah, we're doing Jack the Ripper. In case it wasn't obvious, I guess my tab you can't see my tabs up here, but I have these giant fucking oh Jesus. I have all these giant tabs up at the top. How do I see murder mystery is what drew me in? Yeah. Now that's something we need to talk about. So everyone, let's set some ground rules here to start. One, it's the one shot you promised. Yeah, we need to talk about that because I've been thinking a lot about that. And I didn't want to work ahead. So you can see my Google Doc here just has one heading. Um, so let's so we're live here. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna go to the campaign. I'm gonna see what happens if I can just embed this right in the top. Cause that'd be really cool to get people into a stream and stuff. Story. Let's bump this down. And then live now for the 360K stretch goal. We'll see what that looks like. If it actually plays live or if it just starts the stream over. It'd be cool if it did. Where's my pledges? Huh? Huh? Where's the pledges, guys? It's been this for like 20 minutes now. Okay, so if I play this, see what that looks like. It actually plays live. Or hey, it plays live. Okay, cool. That is super cool, and I'm excited about that. That's something that I need to keep in my pocket as a thing that we can do. So that's live. Now we're gonna be working on Jack the Ripper, and we need to kind of talk about this. So first up, everybody in here. How many people are in here? 17 people. I'm trying, Grant. You don't need me to Yoda you. You need to look deep within yourself and ask yourself, Spaz. if there is any trying, or if there's only doing and not doing. Because I'm joking. I don't know what I'm not going anywhere with this. Sorry. Snorted right in the mic. I'm gonna try really hard not to do that. James with the pledge. Delay building a new computer for a paycheck. Okay, now I also want to say, James, this doesn't you might be in the clear. You might be in the green. You might be clear skies ahead, nothing but, forests and meadows, because if your payday is March 1st and it's one of those nice little like 3-check adjacent months, um the pledge doesn't come out until around 8 a.m. on March 1st. So you won't get charged for this until your next check. So you might be good. I'm hoping you're good, because I don't want to hold you back from a new computer. There's Helldivers 2, there's Pal World. There's a lot of important things out there to use computers on. But hopefully you'll be okay. One thing is the pledge doesn't come out right away. So let's set up some ground rules, everyone. Hi, I'm gonna look at you. I'm gonna look at push my camera. Here we go. So don't fucking say anything in the chat that you don't want like used. And like we're all gonna be throwing around ideas. Ideas are fucking cheap. You know, hundreds of ideas go in the trash. I don't want you to have like had an idea and then feel like ownership of it or an obligation to it or something. So if like you were to say something and then were to like work on an idea, regardless of whose idea it was, right? I don't want you to feel like ownership over that and then not like what we wind up doing with it. Does that make sense? Don't put anything in the chat that you hold dear to your heart. Don't put anything in the chat that is sacred to you, because this is a whiteboarding session. This is a open floor. There are going to be ideas flying all over the place. There'll be bad ideas. There better be bad. There has to be bad ideas for there to be good ideas. If your trash can is not full of bad ideas, your ideas suck, and you need to start throwing ideas away and coming up with new ones. That's the number. Any DM in here worth their salt will tell you you have to have the bad ideas to have the good ideas. There's going to be ideas flying all over the place. So don't fucking say anything that is important to you or that you don't want to share or that you don't want to just be out there and either get trashed or get used in a way you don't want it to get used, so on and so forth. Don't marry your ideas. Everybody here needs to take a deep breath, accept that their ideas are garbage, and get ready to just rake them through the mud and throw them all in the trash. Nothing is sacred. There are no bad ideas. But all ideas are bad. That's the words I live by. No ideas are bad, but all the ideas are bad. That's how I live my life, and that's how you should live your life too. 7 steps to well-adjusted young people. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, seriously, don't fucking say anything that you don't want me to use, because I will use it, or I'll trash it and I'll junk it. And you don't want either of those things. So we're going back here. Now we are doing let me make my screen a little bit smaller here so I can see chat. So what we're doing is, the idea is a Jack the Ripper Moriarty mashup. So that's the prompt, right? We have no idea what that looks like. We can draw some, immediate conclusions. So if, like, for me, for example, I want to go ahead and say, well, that's kind of the first decision we need to make. Is this going to be in Daughter of the Shadows, or is this going to be in Soliloquy of Annihilation? Because it kind of makes sense for it to be in Lorvin. I don't know why I said that so weird. It kind of makes sense for it to be in Lorvin, which would make it a higher level adventure. So let's type high level, low level. So pros and cons for me here is if it's a high level adventure, Lorvin makes sense, right? That's the easy thing. Here's my problem with it being high level is are murder mysteries fun with high level magic? So how would we possibly, so it'd be post, let's just go with D&D for the time being, because MythCraft doesn't have this problem as much. But could we possibly make, you know, I'm trying to think about some of the enchantment spells and stuff there, like level 11. Right. So there's all sorts of problems that I feel like we have if we make this um a post level 10 encounter. So even if it's right at level 11. Now, there's ways around this. Like there's Tomb of Annihilation, right? What does Tomb of Annihilation do? They make resurrection not work. So like Speak with Dead, here's a big one. So now, this corpse must still have a mouth and can't be undead. That does interest me because Ripper Moriarty would know how this spell works, right? So perhaps none of them have mouths, which leans into kind of both of those two things, where Jack the Ripper is this like kind of terrible, gruesome, mutilator, and Moriarty's intelligence, where he, is kind of this like mastermind. So there's this thing is, we could overcome Speak with Dead, but there are other things that kind of bother me, because there's things like Zone of Truth kind of ruins any this is a low level spell that could potentially, make it difficult for DMs to do any sort of like witness interrogation. I feel like Ripper victim would not even know who killed them. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, what are some other spells that might, cause some serious issues here? So let's look at some. How do you do this? Let's see here. We've got our compulsion. Those are going to be problem spells. Oh, Crown of Madness is the only compulsion spell in D&D, everyone. Just found that out. This is what I was looking for. Divination, filter spells. If we hit 700K, gotta get Austin? Austin is not working on this project, Justin. Austin has not worked with MythCraft for quite a while. Locate item. Yeah, locate item could be a little bit difficult. Suggestion. Detect magic could cause some problems. Let's look at divination. Divination can kind of be worked around by the DM. Okay, so that's some of the problem. Now, are murder mysteries fun? That's our first question. We don't need to answer that right now. Now, low level. Here's my concern with low level, y'all. Is a fight against an assassin type character fun at low level? So when I think of an assassin, so I'm thinking about the fight now. We've got two parts to this. We've got the murder mystery, and then we've got the actual fight. Um, can you make an assassin fight where someone is just murdering you? like you have to think of it like hitting like a truck from the shadows. Um, can that's going to be less fun at low level to me. Um, the um workaround for Zone of Truth is the NPC doesn't have to answer. I believe most fun will come from finding him. Yeah. This is all good stuff. Um, all good points. You know, the Zone of Truth thing, I understand that there's ways around it as a DM. I'm just saying how much of this do we want to be like a fun murder mystery, and how much of this do we want to be like DM versus player? Like, you guys have played with players. Like, they're if they get it in their head, if they start going down this path, like, I'm gonna do this the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to engage with the story. I'm going to mess with the story. The second that they start going down that path, they'll find a way, right? Like, they once they've made the decision not to engage with it. Um, I don't know. We need to make sure that the path is clear. Now, here's something that I thought. Here's my idea. So is an assassin fight fun at low levels? That's the question. Now, any other concerns here? Lorvin does make sense. I like that. Murder mysteries are less fun with high level magic. Low level is an assassin fight at low level. So the fight I feel like is going to be more fun at higher levels. The murder mystery to me is going to be more fun at lower levels. So what do? Now here's my pitch. I want to know what you all think about this. What if, so just to set the scene here, the high level players come into Lorvin. Lorvin is already pretty terrible at this juncture. It's not, we won't get into that. Won't get into spoilers. Lorvin's pretty terrible at this juncture. So players come into Lorvin. They're approached by a golem. This golem is a wizard's assistant. This is Watson in my mind. I don't know if we'll call him Watson. Maybe like, here's the pitch is high level players are approached by Watson. Watson goes to Jack the Ripper being smart enough to understand how high level magic works and using it to subvert expectations. Sounds amazing. Right. So that would be fun to go through the list of things that they might do and come up with different counters to it. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought. How would we subvert that? And giving the DM just a list, like, if your players do this, this is what happens. So that would be really fun. Here's my idea though. What if you go, I don't want to say back in time, not physically go back in time, not like jump in a time machine, but what if the players use a speak with dead spell or scroll? Watson, say, gives them a speak with dead scroll. So I'm picturing this as like dark. This is super grim dark. So whoever we're calling Sherlock in this is long dead, and Watson is still trying to solve this mystery. Fully down bottom of the bottle, whatever, approaches the adventurers to solve this mystery for them. And then they go and they use like a speak with dead scroll or something to talk to some people who are working on this mystery. And then you kind of like zoom into the story. So you go back in time and you inhabit these like lower level people who are solving or working on solving this mystery. And you're talking to these people who are since dead. And through the narrative of the players talking to the people who are dead, because the people who are dead are kind of telling the story, the DM then guides the players through inhabiting these dead people who are telling this story, and they're solving this mystery. So we're getting the low level type play. So the DM hands everyone, you know what I mean, a sheet, and it's just their skills. You know what I mean? It's no longer their combat skills. It's just their skills and their mind. And then they solve the mystery through the process of this narrative where they're telling this story through, you know, interrogating these dead people. And so you're playing it, and then you uncover who Moriarty is or whatever, and then the combat happens at higher level. That's one idea. So I'm just going to jot down this stuff here. This is the ideas that I had here so far. So option 1 is a vignette style low level murder mystery and high level combat. That's the both option. So then option 2 is making a list of how Moriarty may subvert high level magics. Stumbles upon a fresh kill as an introduction instead. Maybe the town guard thinks they did it, but Watson comes in and vouches for the party. Yeah, I mean that's one way to introduce. That's a iteration on option 2, or option 1. So option 1A, it's the clear your name trope. Not a trope, but clear your name story. That could be really cool. And then what Watson would agree to help you if you help him. Now I was thinking, we can. I know this is a little difficult for some people. This is the way that I work. I like to kind of like go through and set the stage before I start like answering questions. I don't like to. So let's keep going. You know what I mean? And we can come back to this, and other ideas are going to shake loose as we continue to work through this. So, I was trying to think what makes a really good, murder mystery. I think there's got to be a twist. There's always a twist in a good murder mystery. So I was trying to work through what that might be, and what, is Moriarty cruel? Does he have some sort of master plan? I'm trying to think, like the best Moriarty that I know of is like the Sherlock. I was just looking at videos of him. So the BBC Sherlock Moriarty, like I loved this iteration of him.
Can you help us? We need to drive away.
I'm just gonna watch it.
$250 deposit reference.
Reference.
Somebody local I can.
Do you mind if I get that?
Oh, no, please. You've got the rest of your life.
Hello? Yes, of course it is. What do you want? Say that again! Say that again, and know that if you're lying to me, I will find you, and I will skin you.
You guys just want to watch
Wait.
Sherlock together? That's what I want to do.
Sorry. Wrong day to die.
Did you get a better offer?
You'll be hearing from me, Sherlock.
Maybe that's not the best clip. I want one where he's like just losing it, man.
Do you know what happens if you don't leave me alone, Sherlock? To you?
What if Moriarty
Oh,
is
let me
Sherlock?
guess. I guess.
Yeah, that was one of the ideas I was thinking about was, you know, if in the end, if in the end of it all, it was some sort of manipulation. So I think that's kind of the classic Moriarty story is you have a figure that's what I want to do. I think is we want to detected video in your stream belonging to someone else. What? Okay, I guess I'm not allowed to watch other people's videos. Don't streamers do that all the time, don't they? I didn't know that wasn't a thing I could do. So that's kind of the classic Moriarty twist is you think you found the bad guy, but the bad guy was being manipulated by Moriarty, or it was him the whole time, or it was, it was someone else. So trying to think, of a really, really good twist as far as that goes. I think Moriarty being, having had Ben, I don't know that word, is a really good idea. Um, I was thinking also about potentially having, I don't know, is that too, I feel like that happens a lot. It's like, oh, the person who hired you, or oh, the person you're working for was actually the bad guy. That does happen a lot, but it is fun. There's a reason it happens a lot, right? So I don't know how I feel about that. Let's keep talking about some twists. So let me give this a little heading too. So do we all? I mean, can we all agree Sherlock is dead? I feel like that's kind of the like. Sorry, that's kind of the hook to me. Sherlock is dead. I'm just gonna put that up at the top because I feel like that's kind of the subversion of expectations that I want to see to begin everything off with. So also be using the parts of his victims to make him homunculus. Yeah, I was trying to think. We have we have to kind of decide before we can go too much further. We have to kind of think about what Moriarty's deal is. Is he just cruel? Is he just toying with people? So classically, Moriarty. Let me see, I've got him up here. I like Doyle's original motive in creating Moriarty was his intention to kill Holmes off. That's really interesting. So Moriarty was made to kill Sherlock. So that's really fun. Silence my phone, guys. Sorry. So does he need a master plan though? Because that's like kind of what I've been trying to figure out. And the different representations of Moriarty, a lot of times his whole deal is messing with people, flexing on people, mentally flexing on people, mentally flexing on Sherlock. And in our story, Sherlock is dead. So where is Moriarty now that Sherlock is dead? Maybe that's why the murders have become more cruel and stuff like that. So that's kind of one interesting take. So, Sherlock is dead. I just need to write something here somewhere. Get rid of all this extra space here. Well, but Jack the Ripper and Moriarty are both kind of cruel in their own way. That's kind of what I was I don't know. That's kind of why I was thinking like Moriarty doesn't really have strong motive or like a strong thing he is trying to do. He's just flexing. Um and Jack the Ripper's kind of the same way. He, well, I mean serial killers in general, like what is their motive? Is that even anything that's sexual sadism and or rage is Jack the Ripper's motive? Um Lack of an obvious motive. Yeah, so I mean Moriarty, one thing that Moriarty and Jack the Ripper share is a lack of motive or an unknown motive. And with Sherlock dead, so if we're going kind of more Joker style, um, if we're going more like the Joker style and Sherlock is dead, like what happens? That's always the thing, right? Like what happens to Batman when Joker's dead, so on and so forth. So something that we kind of need to think about. So one of the twists I had in my head was imagine, you investigate a couple murder scenes, and for the most part, the murders, which all have the same, so let's say all the murders have kind of the same weird thing to them, and it's all meant to kind of subvert magic. So um, it's meant to subvert, speak with dead. I'm trying to think of some other, magics that it might subvert, but let's say, this pattern is established and we're kind of following Sherlock's footsteps as like to go through the mystery that he was working on. And there was a higher society murder. And so we get into this place where we're at a, dinner party with, let's say like 8 nobles. So kind of like a classic murder mystery type situation there. In this in the nobility uh interview, so they bring in the players are talking to these people. This person has been killed and they've been, mutilated in the same way. um and then the players start working on solving it. I thought it'd be really cool if Jack the Ripper, so the first twist is Jack the Ripper is not a person, it's like a cult. So Jack the Ripper is all of these people and they do these terrible like ritualistic murders. And then the second twist is that they do them for this Moriarty, who is acting as he is mind fucking these people. Not maybe not magically, but he has convinced these people that he is some sort of like demon to sate, or he has like convinced these people, these nobles, to do these murders in like this really terrible way. And that's when you get into this like higher level combat. Is you find out you're interviewing all of these nobles at this dinner party. Truth is, it was all of them, and this is like some sort of like weird cult. And then, you know, the twist after that is that there's this like demon who is convincing people to do this thing to them, and they are it's kind of a man behind the curtain on that. So Sherlock is Moriarty. Let's say Jack the Ripper is a murder cult. That's twist number 2. What are some other twists we got? Sherlock is Moriarty. So we know Sherlock is dead. I don't need to write this. I think I'm pretty set on them not having a super strong motive, just to kind of stay true to the characters. Sherlock is Moriarty. Jack the Ripper is a murder cult. You seen the Robert Downey Jr. Lord Blackwood? I've not seen the Robert Downey Jr. one. Let me hit up the basic plot details of that. Called Sherlock Holmes. Kind of like Wicker Man or Midsummer. I mean, a little bit more violent than that, a little bit faster paced. So let's see here. Ritualistic murder of a woman by Lord Henry Blackwood, who has killed 5 women. 2 months later, Blackwood, who claims to have supernatural powers, is sentenced to death by hanging. This is the worst synopsis ever. Holmes follows her as she meets with her secret employer, deducing the man is a professor. Imitates Adler. I'll have to check this out. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Aurora. Like, the party finds out it's a cult, but the cult is being manipulated by this, you know, demon. So Moriarty and Moriarty is tricking them. So we know Sherlock's dead, but Sherlock could have been Moriarty, is potentially in hiding, something to that effect. Oh man, Jack the Ripper is a murder cult, and Moriarty is tricking them. Interesting. So, the potential got some low level, high level, making a list of how Moriarty might subvert high level magics. Let's see this. Gotham by Gaslight. Oh yeah, the framing story. That was something I was thinking about too. Is what if Moriarty is a prolific like framer? So what if like high society actually were to hire um actually were to oh did I just go dead? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Check check. Okay, sorry, my thing just kind of stuttered a little bit. Um my other thing was the framing idea. So what if there was, Jack the Ripper was a cover for Moriarty, who, throughout time and perhaps in different cities even, um Moriarty has used this cover, uh this way of killing people that cannot be solved. So say we go through a list and come up with ways to subvert magic. um he goes through a way and then he kills, you know 3 or 4 people or whatever, and then frames someone. Um, and so they think they've caught Jack the Ripper, you know what I mean, like 3 or 4 times, and he uses this to uh audio streams current bit. Can you guys not hear me? Is everything okay? Check, check, check. You guys let me know if my audio is okay. I'm getting some warnings that my audio bit rate is too low or is not working correctly. It says I haven't dropped any frames, but it says my audio bit rate is 0. Am I crackling for you guys? Can you hear me? Do I sound okay? The volume good? Everything's normal. All right, I'm just gonna ignore the error. Um, so Jack the Ripper could potentially be a cover, or there could be, he's murdering. You're quiet. Oh, I'm quiet. I can turn it up. Or I could just get closer to the microphone. Oh man, I remember now I'm quiet and I have to turn it up and Cody gets mad at me. Hold on. All right. Am I peaking? Hello? Shouldn't be peaking anymore. Mm. So yeah, the other idea that I had was that the murders were cover for something. So say Moriarty in, different cities would maybe kill, let's say 5 people at a time. So something kind of like pentagrammy, and would do all this like sort of terrible stuff. Um, and then there was like one person that they were actually trying to kill in that. So, the murders were a cover for something else. That kind of, even just saying it out loud, I don't really like it as much because I don't know. It's a little tropey, and it makes Moriarty a mercenary, working for money, working for gold, working for whatever. And I feel like the classic kind of Moriarty is flexing his mental energy. So let's see here. The greatest schemer of all time, the organizer of everyday devilry. Number 2 is the true target. The rest are for fun. I love that idea. I feel like it would be more my perception of. So you guys like the idea of him being more of like a murderer for hire? murders many people. Well, I'm just going to say 5. 5 people at a time to cover for his real target. Now we could mix these two concepts too. Actually, we could mix all 3 of these. So, Sherlock is always the one investigating him, which is why he never gets caught. He could accomplish the murders through the murder cult of nobles. So I don't think it means Moriarty isn't the one in control. Just because he takes jobs doesn't mean, right? Like, he's a contractor, he's not an employee. If that makes sense. They also, if there is like a murder cult aspect to it, it could be, he could be posing as like a god of some sort. So why this would take out the idea that Sherlock is dead. That's the one thing that we'd probably have to give on, unless, well, yeah, because we want the players to fight him. Unless he's not really dead. Right, yeah, taking contracts, definitely not. He could have just gotten tired of his cover as Sherlock and, fake killed himself or faked his own death. So let's roll with this for right now. So Sherlock is Moriarty. Let's get some. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and keep this high level for right now. And then we'll work on a list of how to subvert high level magics here. We'll need to kind of go through that a little bit. And how he mutilates the bodies in order to do that. Our murder mystery is fun with high level. So this is going to be set in Lorvin. And then we'll write some scenes. And then we'll write some murders. Whoop. Groups of 5. And we already know that their jaw is removed, which is gross. Super gross. So Sherlock is Moriarty. He spent some time subverting investigations of Jack the Ripper away from himself and truly enjoyed outsmarting other criminals on other cases. Jack the Ripper is a murder cult and Moriarty is tricking them. So this is over here. Oh my goodness. I hate when that happens. We'll just leave it. Don't care. So several groups of nobles who actually do the murders. Moriarty has a cover as some sort of god of death or demon, and just them out. And then he covers for his real target. So this is probably going to be a major clue. On motive, and we'll probably get to the point where they capture someone or become aware of someone who has hired him. Probably need to come up with a name because they probably don't hire Moriarty. They hire Jack the Ripper. How much can people keep that shit secret? Like how long would it take before that stuff kind of comes out? Have him working for death himself. I don't think I want to get gods involved in this, just because I want it to be the story of the depravity of man more so than others. So let's take a look at some. So we know that Speak with Dead, jaw is removed. So let's look up some divination spells here and see what we can do about those. Trying to remember what some of these things do. Renfield working for Moriarty. I like the murder cult idea quite a bit. Ripper Moriarty character is actually a woman, and it was Watson's lover trying to get rid of Sherlock because she thinks Watson was being used by Holmes. Give it a love twist. Did I write? So, oh, I did that. Blah, Grant. There we go. Sherlock is dead. Group is framed for murder. We'll do. There's like a. I don't know. We'll figure out how that occurs. Watson. Gollum. Created by Sherlock. Should we come up with a different name? Doyle? I don't know. Referential Sherlock name. I want to make Sherlock a wizard too. This is important. I don't believe none of them would be hired. Ripper is a loose cannon. And Moriarty is a manipulator. I don't believe none of them would be hired. What do you mean you don't believe none of them would be hired? I don't follow that sentence. Herlock Sholmes. Hey, don't make me laugh. I think first clue is that yeah, it's a wizard. Sherlock was a wizard. And I think that you know, we will reveal later that he was indeed not magical. He was more of an assassin, rogue type who used magical items. Okay. So let's see here. Magic items that subvert other magic. We don't really want that. Wonder if we could come up with some sort of like Moriarty could be hired for people to kill noblemen for shit like that. Right. So the idea is that Moriarty manipulates this murder cult who are these unhinged fucking delusional nobles who do these crazy ritualistic murders. So we're getting the I think we're hitting all of the points there that I'd want to hit. We want to do a twin storyline. Maybe Sherlock and Moriarty could be twins. Wah, wah, wah. The ultimate twist at the end. So Watson will be a strong reference. My bad then. No, it's not. It's not bad. I just think I think we hit the points I want to hit. I think I will say I'm on the fence too about the murder for hire. I feel like Moriarty manipulating nobles into killing people is more serial killer to me. And making him a mercenary, I don't like it as much. What do you guys think? You got me back on that point now. Does he kill for contract or does he just kill to kill? Because in my mind, he's a master manipulator. He has convinced this, you know, cult to do these terrible murders for him. He never gets his own hands dirty. I don't feel like we need him to be hiding murders inside of all that. Like he's murdering to murder. I feel like that's more my speed for this in my opinion. What do you guys think? I'm going to take it out for now. We can put it back if we want. Jaw is removed. Yeah, I like that, Draven. Like, I really like the idea that the nobles think they're getting something out of it. The nobles think that, like, the end is coming. You know, he could be oh my god, I just had this great idea. He could be pretending to be a vampire and promising to turn them to get immortality, but he's not actually a vampire. That could be really fucking cool. He's not actually afflicted with the vampire curse. He's promising vampirism though to all of these nobles. So this is like just when vampirism is starting to take over Lorvan too. Or he could be a vampire. He could just be a vampire. No, I don't want him to be a vampire. There's enough vampires. So Sherlock is Moriarty. That really ties it into the setting. Moriarty pretends to be a vampire and promises to turn the nobles and give them immortality. Groups are unaware of each other until the very end. How many little covens are there going to be? I'm going to say that there are a coven per... I'm going to say there are 4 covens. And... we'll just do 1 coven. Well, maybe more covens. I was just thinking it might be cool if he commanded the covens to attack each other at the very end, like as a way to hide for it. Yeah, I mean the vampires would not be pumped about it at all. 5 for the pentagram. Yeah, absolutely. So, so let's take a look here. So how it might subvert high-level magics. So for 1, I think Speak with Dead, the jaw is removed. Now does that affect MythCraft at all? I'm trying to remember all of my spells. That be divine? I don't think we have a spell like that, if I'm remembering correctly. 5 covens. Oh my god, the covens could form a pentagram on the map. That'd be so crazy. Yeah, I mean there could be 5. Why not? We're doing 5s. Yeah, he's not actually a vampire. So the group is framed for murder. Watson agrees to help them if he helps. Agrees to help them if they help him. So we know that this is set in Lorvin. We need to come up with some scenes. So Speak with Dead, jaws removed. Should we make it so that if the I'll keep it a 1-shot. I'm good. It's not a campaign. It'll be, we'll do like 3 scenes, right? Like we'll do, you get caught. So you go to bed in an inn, you wake up, your room is covered with blood. There is a corpse that has been like mutilated in your room. You slept through the whole fucking thing. And you get like arrested by the local authorities. Wake up in a tavern, room is covered in gore. Okay, so it is a 1-shot, right? So scene 1, they're going to investigate the murder scene. And then they need to find something that gets them to the matching second murder in a noble dinner party, and then the reveal and fight scene with Moriarty. Yeah, say it's 3 scenes. Super, super easy. So Speak with Dead, jaw is removed. I feel like he'd also probably trap the body. It will burn to ash if disturbed. Watson would warn about this. This is just for flavor. You know what I mean? Watson would warn them that, if they disturb it. So let me see here. Anti-divination items 5e. What's that spell where like divination can't work against you? What is that spell? Is this homebrew or is this for real? Okay. Well, this is a real item. So, like Moriarty would definitely have this. So he's not a wizard. So Sherlock. But a really, really fucking smart rogue. Proofed against divination magic. Now, there was a good point made by our friend there. This is turning into like a mini campaign. And you are right. I don't think we can do 5 covens since it's got to be a one shot. I want it to be a one shot. Okay, so it's basically the same as the amulet proof. And divination, so being proofed against divination magic would mean that you like, what is that? Is that like detect magic is not divination. Or it is divination. So how does non-detection work with detect magic? Do they just see that there's non-detection allows you to hide a target from if you cast disguise self, you will radiate an aura of illusion magic to anyone focusing you with detect magic. That doesn't answer my question. The Hat of Disguise is a magic item that allows you to cast disguise self at will. Non-detection allows you to hide a target from divination magic. If you have cast disguise on yourself, you will radiate an aura of illusion magic to anyone focusing on you with detection magic. Similarly, the Hat of Disguise will be detected by this divination as an object that bears magic. So if you cast non-detection on yourself, you can hide the aura around you from this divination. However, non-detection only works on a single target. My question is, while wearing the hat, do you and the hat count as a single target or as 2 separate targets? That is to say, if I wanted to make my disguise immune to the effects of divination magic, yeah, you and all the stuff you're wearing. The target can't be targeted by divination magic. Nistral's magic aura. Hello, how are you? We're trying to figure out how Moriarty would subvert magic. I think a custom magic item is going to be what would do the trick here, because you're going to find all sorts of weird stuff here with what we're working on right now. Target can't be targeted by divination magic. Yeah, detect magic does not target the thing. It just makes you see magic. So it doesn't quite do what we're looking for. I don't understand what you want from me. Sign into my shit here. Here we go. You place an illusion on the creature or object you touch so that divination spells reveal false information about it. Here we go. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. Nistral's Magic Aura. This is from the player's fucking handbook, I guess. I don't know why I've never heard of this spell. You place an illusion on a creature or object you touch so that divination spells reveal false information about it. The target can be a willing creature or an object that is being carried or worn by another creature. That isn't being carried or worn. When you cast a spell, choose one or both of the following effects. The effects last for the duration. The illusion lasts until it is dispelled. Okay, so if you do it every day for a month. You change the way the target appears to spells and magical effects, such as detect magic, that detect magical auras. You can make a non-magical item appear magical, a magical object appear non-magical, or change the object's magical aura so that it seems to belong to a specific school of magic that you choose. Mask. You can change the way the target appears to spells and magical effects that detect creature types. Ooh. This is beautiful. This is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for, y'all. I don't know what this spell is from. I disagree it's from the player's handbook. I feel like I would have heard of it. I'm going to search this real quick and see if I'm crazy. It's just from the player's handbook. I just missed it. That is probably, I feel like I'm being Mandela affected right now. This is probably the coolest spell I didn't know about in Dungeons and Dragons. And I can't believe I've been playing this game for as long as I have been playing. I can't believe that I missed this spell, because all of these fucking ideas are flooding into my brain now with Nistral's Magic Aura that have different things to do with this. What spell list? It's on the wizard spell list. Ooh, there's a spell tag Deception. Let's look up that. Okay, so first let's move Nistral's Magic Aura here. Sorry for snorting in your ears again, everyone. Where are we at here? Okay. So we are going to look up Deception's tags in the spells. So spell tags, apparently there is a Deception tag. Arcanist Magic Aura. I don't know what that's all about. Encode thoughts, yeah. Feign death. Okay. So basically, once they dispel Nistral's Magic Aura, which I think we're going to do something that's going to cause the aura to... Yeah, we're going to do something to cause the aura to, like, be affecting this whole little township. And I think once they dispel the aura, then some things are going to make some more sense, and that will lead them where they need to go. So we've got non-detection. Let's see what mislead does. You become invisible at the same time, an illusory double. This is definitely a spell that will be good for the combat for the our little arcane trickster here. So jaw is removed. Nistral's magic aura is not in the player's handbook. I thought it just was in the player. I thought we confirmed this. Are we unconfirming this now? Okay. So mislead is a cool spell for the combat. So let's go Draven has the player's handbook in his hand right now. And he says it's not in there. I have a player's handbook. I can go look. Arcanus Magicora is in the same, but with a different name. It's in the basic rules. Yeah, I think I just missed it, which is crazy. You can change the way a target appears to spells and magical effects that detect creature types, such as a paladin's divine sense or the trigger of a symbol spell. You choose a creature type, and other spells and magical effects treat the target as if it were a creature of that type or of that alignment. That last part's a little confusing to me. So you can actually make... I'm confused. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold up. Hold the horses. Stop the presses. Am I reading this correct? You can choose a creature type and treat the target of this spell like it was a creature of that type? You choose a creature. Is there a DM in the fucking comments? Can someone explain this sentence to me? Because that my breakable trigger is going off really hard right now. So you're telling me I could look at a dude, cast Nistral's magic aura, make that person be treated as if they were undead, and then cast turn undead on that person and it actually affects them? It doesn't just say appears, though. I get the appears part. The appears part is clear to me. I'm saying, oh, detect. Okay. I got it. No, you can't do that, Spaz. That's what I was thinking. You could turn into a humanoid and hold person. Yeah, it says you change the way a target appears to spells and magical effects. There's more. I stopped reading. And magical effects that detect creature types. So it would trigger a detection and the way that they appear. It does not actually whatever. Okay. I'm there. So we need Moriarty to have a super powered version of this spell that can do multiple things. So let me real quick. Yeah, I was like, dude, that is breakable right there. Group is framed for murder. Watson, investigate the second murder scene. So jaw is removed. The body is trapped. Divination magic seems to have absolutely no effect on it. And detect magic shows that it is that there's no magic on it. So clue, there is a magical trap I guess we're doing high level magic, so we could just have it be a death trap on it. You choose a surface. No, 10. The glyph is nearly invisible. Okay, so the body is going to be trapped. Body is trapped with a death glyph that hopefully kills one of your players. So I am going to officially say that this is high level. So this is going to be a level, we'll say 11 plus encounter. So clue number 1. Body is trapped with a death glyph, but detect magic does not. Warlock patron that casts an enhanced version of this on their Warlock's packed weapon, causing it to be an aura. They can change it like a class feature. Mm-hmm. He's making himself appear like a vampire. But detect magic does not reveal this. No divination magic does. So the first big thing they need to figure out, there's an aura that needs dispelled. Yeah, it's not a vampire. Well, I mean, this isn't necessarily a clue. I'm going to stop calling them clues. Body is trapped with no divination magic does. Let me clean this up a little bit. Okay. So other effect, Moriarty would appear to be undead. Is there anything that detects vampirism? Need Nathan to write a MythCraft version. That'd be me. I'm the arcane magic guy. So, you want some of that shit? You're looking at the wizard boy. Nathan's your occult divine primal guy. I'm your psionic arcane guy. Would appear to be undead. Specifically a vampire, depending how specific the divination was. Write the spell. So I do think I already did I not? I think I had that idea kind of separately. I think that's kind of why it was bothering me. or perhaps it's in the mage track. I'd have to remember. I think it's called Mask. Yeah, already wrote it independently, so it's there. When you cast a spell, choose an object within range. For the duration, it appears to give off magical energy of a function of your choice. Any divining magic used to decided to cast a spell, with the exception of identify magic. Yeah, this is a little weird because it only affects the other sources of magic, and Nistral's spell has way more shit than this, but somewhat of a general idea. I think that Nistral's given me some more ideas for sure. Okay, so if Jack Moore is a human, how can he be? Dude, don't underestimate humanity, bro. Humans can be mythic. You're mythic. We're all mythic here. Everyone here is mythic. Coffee ASMR. Yeah. I don't think I think Moriarty's mythic, baby. He's mythic. So jaw is removed. Drawn bloody ritual circle. Missing body part. Either arm, either leg, or head and torso. So intent is once the aura is discovered and dispelled, they can locate the object. I need to make a note up here. Progression is murder scene to noble party to fight. Locating object in the noble murder manner after the aura is dispelled would lead there. What if the party doesn't locate object or have the ability to locate object? Something we need to think about. So what else does this do? So proof against divination magic would be important. So let's go ahead and make a couple magic items here. We're going to call them Moriarty's left ring and Moriarty's right ring. So I think for the left ring, what we're going to do is we're going to say that this has like three slots. And I'm going to pull this here. And then I'm going to remove this line here. When you choose a spell, choose one or both of the following effects. The effect lasts for the duration. If you cast this spell on the same creature or object every day for 30 days, placing the same effect on it each time the illusion lasts until it's dispelled. So we're going to remove this. And we're going to say when you activate this item, choose one of the following effects. You place an illusion on a creature or object you touch so that divination spells reveal false information about it. The target can be a willing creature or an object that isn't being carried or worn by another creature. I'm going to remove that line too. Once you have used this item on 3 creatures or objects, you may use this item on 3 creatures or objects. Once you have used, I'll work on the wording on this later. Once you have used all 3 slots, and once you've used all 3 slots and use it again, the oldest enchantment fades away as the new one takes effect. And we'll call this, so it has 3 slots. We'll say pretty strong. I'm probably going to give it like a 30 essence. And we'll get definitely requires attunement in D&D. So you can only have 3 items like this. So you place an illusion on a creature or object you touch that divination spells reveals false information about it. When you activate this item, choose one of the following effects. So that's his left ring. And then I wanted to give him non-detection. Ring of permanent non-detection. So that's cool. He's got two pretty cool rings here that are going to protect him from divination magic and protect him from detection, which is pretty cool. So the 3 effects he's using on his rings are the dead body, the corpse, the object. Appears non-magical, but it's trapped. He's making himself appear vampiric or undead. Just depends how specific the divination is. We have one more effect. One free slot on the left ring if we want it. So then they go to the... So what is going to lead them to the nobles? So we know that once they discover there's an aura, so there'll be a couple clues there's an aura. What's another way we could give them a clue that there's some sort of aura? Change the way the target appears to spells and magical effects that detect creature types. It doesn't really apply how I want it to. Okay. So, everyone, what are some ways we can get them to scene 2? Because I want to get them to I want them to suspect a noble. Perhaps if they don't locate the object, then there is a murder there. Perhaps the murder could just be outside of the noble manor. That would be crazy for them to do it so close to their home. Oh, hold on. Let's see here what we got here. This is high level magic. Restrictions are null. Also love that players are going to get the rings too. Yep. Could be compel duel, but it could be cast on others outside of the user. Like a letter from the noble, a clue like a signet ring or something of the like. These assholes drop their own fucking ring. Traces of blood drinking. Ooh, that'd be gross if the nobles drank blood, but they weren't. You know what I mean? They weren't actually fucking vampires. That'd be crazy. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Let's not dwell too long on that. So then the actual noble dinner in the noble manor that we'll name later. And this is going to be interrogating. Doesn't locate object, doesn't have the ability to locate object, or doesn't have the ability to dispel auras, or just doesn't figure it out. Moriarty carried a device that mimicked Fang sign. Oh, like gave people Fang pricks. Basker Manor. Ooh, I love that. That it's Basker Manor for sure. Justin, I'm stealing that. How do you? It's just Basker ER. I love that. Interrogating. So this will be basically like, not something we really work out live here, but what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll figure out who the nobles are. We'll name all the nobles, and they'll all have like little tells. All have their own personalities and ways to get to them. And then of course um there are magics. There are truth detecting magics. Personality. Personalities, tells, weaknesses. Okay. And then eventually through whatever, eventually through, discover the nobles murderous. treachery and the truth comes out. They are the Ripper. There could be a little fight with the nobles too. We'll figure that out. The nobles are murderous, treachery. Perhaps there's like some catacombs underneath. Perhaps we're in Lorvin, which I really like. Perhaps everything's under the catacombs. So, there's a ton of different entrances to the catacombs. There's a ton of ways to get in there, but they go down there and they find this like weird murder effigy that contains the missing body parts. What's up, Doom Prune? Doom Prune. I love that name. So I think then we could do a chase through the catacombs, revealing many, many more identical effigies, insinuating Moriarty has done this many times. Party intercepts Moriarty when he is supposed to meet with the cult. So the cult tells them where they're meeting. They go down. There's this weird murder effigy. And then the fight begins. And it's going to be down in the catacombs. I think we'll do the cool little reveal as they kind of like run through the catacombs here, that there are a lot of effigies insinuating Moriarty's done this many, many times. And we'll do maybe not a chase, but a fight. And then let's also say, so if the party has figured out the aura, then Watson is equipped with spell magic of some sort and wipes away the false undead vampire masking aura. And unintentionally also dispels a disguise, revealing Sherlock. Then we get to the fight. So obviously some stuff to flesh out. Let's work on the fight now. That's what I want to do. I want to do a little fight. Woo! So try to think of some cool mechanics for a fight like this. I just want to do like a rough map just to kind of get an idea, but I want there to be lots of shadows. I want there to be lots of like places for cover and things of that nature. And then I want them to do a lot of like very tricksy things that would make this get them to the noble's house. The adventure of the Musgrave ritual. What's that? I need to look this up. Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Musgrave. making people fight each other. Yeah, I think the master manipulator part is him manipulating the cults, and then I think the actual fight needs to be Jack the Ripper. I think it needs to be a bloody, explosive, like assassination type fight. And I want there to be like a lot of like claustrophobia. I want there to be very small areas. The lair is absolutely fucking trapped. You fucking know it. So let's find some really like skinny little caves here and get a grid going. These aren't even, these are too open. I need them to be way more like skinny. Yeah, I think I'm gonna draw this to start instead of trying to use stamps. So how do I dig out terrain? That's how I do it. So if I'm digging out terrain and we have like the little effigy, we'll do like a up in the top corner here. And then we'll do some little stairs. We'll do a creepy little ladder. It's way too big. And then let's give the background some. I wonder if we could make this red up a little bit. I feel like I want it to be a little bit more red. There we go. That's kind of what I was looking for. I still would even like more red, but it is what it is. I could give it like a mask, I think. There we go. It's going to be hard to see your character tokens in it, though. Okay. So I just need to fill the foreground with this. And then we need to do all sorts of like just winding bullshit. That always connects to each other with lots of little dead ends that you can't see until you get there. Also, you need to remember that that with mythic creatures in MythCraft, they go after every 2-player combats. So we have to be a little bit careful how we balance Jack, because he's going to be going so much, he's going to be moving so much. So we don't want him to, just automatically kill the players or anything like that. But I'm literally just going to make this giant maze. Make some stuff look like it connect, but it doesn't. We'll give some rooms. We can always go back and connect stuff if we want it to. Just need to line up with the grid a little bit better. I need to remember that. For players. And then I think we're going to end down here in a bigger area and kind of make the fight be a little bit multi-phased as far as that goes. So They'll end down in this little area here, and maybe there'll be like a little pit with some gaps, like really go in on the catacomb thing. And this is kind of where he's headed the whole time. Some edges here. I need to turn this one a couple times. Okay. Just make this as obnoxious as possible. And we'll put in some traps. I'm going to draw the actual correct path here now. Have the entrance be an illusory wall. Yeah, there's also sorts of fun stuff we can do with this. And then we just need to make sure that the tokens can fit everywhere that we want them to on the grid. Just kind of clean this up a little bit. And then that'll be a little Turner corn there. Turner corn? Corner turn. I don't think you'll be able to get line of sight on that depending on how the person draws it. Draws the light. This is going to be such a pain for the DMs to do the lighting on, but it'll be worth it. It'll be a lot of fun. So we've got a little corridor there. Let's get one going here. So I think we're going to have a lot of false Moriartys running around is kind of what I want to accomplish here with this. Draw the right way and then head in the fuckery, yeah. So this is going to be a loop. I love actual loops. So you give them a lot of false loops at first and then give them a real loop. And then the just barely not touching ones are always great. We'll do another area down here with a ladder and then and then we'll draw in some traps. Okay. So now we need to do some sort of like, well, let's put some more ladders in here first because we want to have a few other effigy type murder pentagram areas, and we can fix this up a little bit later. So let's give me like a pentagram. No, give me a rune. That's terrain. Not what I want. Is there magic? Magic effects? Here we go. Can I have blood? Show me blood. All right, well, that'll have to do for now until I can figure out a better way. So this is going to be areas where there are other murder effigies. So there'll be at least 4 other ones that they encounter with bodies. I might do a 5th. Actually, since I think 5 covens is kind of cool with like the pentagram. Oh man, I wish I had made a pentagram. That'd actually be kind of cool. Maybe I'll redo this map someday. So a little area here. Okay, Now let's add in some traps. So burning ashes, explosion marks. We'll just add in some little traps here. So this is going to be like DM layer type shit. And we'll have a few different ones. No, don't randomize. What are you doing? No. Stop it. We'll have line traps that kind of explode out on people when they cross them. So we'll put them in all of the dead ends here. Probably not there. Probably not there. That'd be too easy. Put one here. Put one here. Okay. So then what I want to do is I want people to be getting lost in the catacombs. So basically, I want to attach a variety of portals to each other. And Moriarty would know, i.e. the GM, would know exactly how these would work, right? And they could just, they would be able to go from these shadow portals into places that they wanted to go in order to get the group separated and to to fuck with them in that way. So let's first let's lay the traps. So the traps are going to teleport people to random places. So a yellow. So first let's do a green glyph. So we're going to put these in little spots here. So this is the way here that we get here. So oh, look, I made a pretty straightforward way to get there. So let's put a couple traps there just to make sure that that's not too easy. So the green ones are teleportation traps. So teleportation traps is going to teleport you to a random portal. And Moriarty would not be affected by these, as he would know the way around them. So put one here. So we're trying to split the party up. That's what Moriarty would do, right? He's a mastermind. He's a tactician. He's going to try to split the party up. There'd be a red trap there. I'm pretty sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need one here. And here. Grant is the Bob Ross of sadistic dungeon design. Thank you. I find that to be an excellent compliment. It's also going to be like happening in combat, and I think we'll give Moriarty a way to teleport people away from him too. I was thinking about like it'd be cool if he Misty stepped around. It'd be cool if he teleported. And I was like, man, a lot of bosses do that. A lot of bosses teleport around, right? Like, isn't that every boss like has Misty Step or some shit? What if he teleported people away from him? That'd be pretty fucking cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. So there you go. That's my idea. So let's go to our different teleportation areas here. So we're going to do 6 teleportation areas. We're going to have one here. 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 What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have one here. And we're going to have one here. I don't really like the red, that one, because it's a little hard to see. And then we're gonna do, I think you'd have a teleportation trap right here. So, let's go to the layer. So the first things we need to do, did we get enough, like hazard traps? I feel like this one, you come around this corner, shoots you. This one's probably okay. I think this one's probably okay. I'm gonna add a few more teleportation traps in somewhere. Let's go ahead and get this like little fucking pit started though. I'm just gonna use this to signify it for now. But this giant fucking pit in the catacombs is fucking terrifying to me. And all these like wooden bridges around it. Yep. Justin, you're on to me. That's going to be the really cool part. Is the this is just to signify that this is going to be a giant pit with a bunch of like walkways over it for like kind of the final fight area. This place is also going to have anti-magic aura also. So let's go ahead and get some. I think it's going to have some anti-magic pillars. I think something the players have to destroy is more fun here. So what we'll do is we'll have a series of anti-magic pillars in this room, and then we'll have, there'll be like a bunch of pits, and there will be a bunch of like bridges that go from pillar to pillar. Yeah, so we've already established that Sherlock made Watson. And I think that that's going to be the other thing, is that all of these areas where you see a blood splatter, a Moriarty is going to spawn from there. So there's going to be 5 Moriartys and 1 real Moriarty. And it'll be kind of obvious. It'll be kind of obvious which is which because of the like. Well, I think they'll probably disguise themselves with magic, but if they come to this final area. So Moriarty is going to be constantly working his way, trying to split up the party and trying to get them into this area. So the teleportation traps. Let's give this a subheading to so these are going to be a save. What kind of save would it be against teleporting? I don't know what kind of save that would be, but first person who touches it makes a save. I feel like it'd be charisma, force of will. Not allowing yourself to be teleported feels like a will thing. Like I'm. Will attacked. On hit, roll a 1d6. So we've got we've got green, red, yellow, blue. Green, red, yellow, blue. And then we've got the red, circles. And we got green circles and yellow circles. Player is teleported to that glyph. So a player touches one of these green circles. They are teleported to a random portal. It's randomized where they go. Now, these are nearly invisible and oh my goodness. Should I make them not reveal to detect magic? Glyphs are nearly invisible. Now we need to decide how long he's been setting up this lair. Because if he's been using this spell, what was the spell again? Nistral's magic aura. 30 days. Yeah, so we could say he's been casting this spell on them for 30 days this whole time, which is causing all of his traps to be permanently masked and are under the effects, I'm going to do it, of a permanent at least a year or so. Yeah, I guess, he goes around and does all this. I don't know. I like the idea that they're trapped. Players can take it up with their DM if they want them to not be. So they can be spotted with a lower DC if and they can be spotted with a lower DC if the player moves slowly. Okay. And then we've got our explosive fire traps. So the red traps, these are just going to be hazards. Now, I feel like Moriarty proper. So let's go to Moriarty's homunculi. So there are 5 that wake up during the fight. And Moriarty can speak through them. Swap places with them. So that's creepy. The actual Moriarty is going to be running around going crazy, eventually making his way to his anti-magic area, where he'll have a more advantage as far as like physical combat goes, but the homunculi won't be able to be there to switch places with. The he won't be able to teleport people away. You know what I mean? So on and so forth. So um so the anti-magic chamber is going to be kind of his like last resort that he goes to. So the 5 homunculi wake up during the fight. Morty can speak to them and swap places with them. The homunculi are basic monsters that chase and stab, but will say crazy, deranged shit, and Moriarty taunts the party. So there's going to be 5 mobs that are running around fucking with people. Now, Moriarty, the actual monster himself, so I'm trying to set the scene here. I hope you guys kind of are seeing what I'm trying to do here. So he, on his turn, is going to be able to he can move and attack and do one, we'll say move and attack, well, we don't need to worry about the specific mechanics right now. That's not what we're doing. He can move and attack and do one trick. So a trick is going to be swap places with a homunculus. Teleport a player to a random glyph. Moriarty fights dirty and will try to split up the party. He would taunt the players and try to target a weaker member of the group, but might not kill them. Might just get them real low and then fuck with the party. Something he might do. Another thing, he would absolutely lie about what's going on, telling party members he'd already killed others. So that's one thing that would be really cool is once he starts to split up the party, he could be like, you're the last one left. Or he could be like, I already killed, X, I already whatever. So on and so forth. I don't know. How else would he lie? We'll think about that. So he teleport players. He's going to try to split them up. He would only really attack when a player was isolated. Fall back to his anti-magic area. So what would he have? You think he'd have like daggers and a crossbow? Little hand crossbows? Just daggers and throwing daggers? So you guys kind of picture what I imagine the fight is going to be like. So they start here. There's a teleportation glyph. They get teleported. The glyph. Oh, lie where to go. So they go into a trap. Yeah. Justin gets it. Draven gets it. You guys know what I'm putting down. Absolutely would want to trick people like that. Cane sword. Cane sword? Well, let's put a question mark. Oh, one thing I want him to be able to do is to place new traps. So, teleport players to random glyph. Place a new trap, red or green. These would not be permanently masked. He'd have to use a charge from his ring. Dispel magic. I feel like he'd be dispelling magic a lot. I think those are the things he's going to do. He stabs people. He throws daggers at people. Teleports people away from them. Tries to get them all split up. Swaps places with his homunculi. And dispels magic. So he's got some like arcane trickster parts to him. But for the most part, he gets everyone split up on this map I've kind of shown you here. Do some more like bridges over this here. I love the idea that we have like no fucking idea what these like catacombs are and what the point of them is and why there'd be all this like random scaffolding on them. I just fucking love that shit. I wish I had a better hole token. Can I like look in other places for pits? There's a pit. There's a pit. Those are markers. There's a pit. Hole. Oh, I can search them all? Can I? This is all the pits? I wish I had a better hole. I said what I said. Yeah, I guess I could just darken the ground. I don't know why I'm obsessing over this. So let's do just a little brush. Just a nice little void here. Nice little shadow. And then just this crazy like scaffolding over it. And have it be like, just be a really cool fight with him like throwing daggers, plus them like working their way to the different like anti-magic places too. Might even make this bigger and make the things like smaller. But I imagine him like shoving people off the edge and stuff too. So he makes his way back to this anti-magic place. We'll put the rune here. Rolled charges of the glyph spell and a magic effect that lets him activate them. So he needs a... teleports players to a random glyph. So this is an item I think could be really cool that maybe the cane would be good for. And I feel like this could be maybe a piece of loot that he drops. That would be really fun for... Right, yeah. Me and Justin are on the same wavelength. So these two items are fun, but they're not really powerful. I was thinking... I'm just going to move these down to the bottom here. Moriarty's cane. I was thinking this could have... figure out charges, balance. Come up with that later. So basically, tap the ground to place a. Hey, I ordered another set of books to give to a home. Hey, that's fucking awesome, Clinton. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate you. Homies need books, man. Gotta give your homies the books. Homies need books too. Sorry, I just got distracted. So, I was thinking you could tap the ground to place a barely visible rune on a 5-foot square. As an action. Recall to that square. I need to come up with some. I'm running out of juice. So I think we've got the main mechanics of this here. And I think we've got some cool little ideas as far as the magic goes for it. And then, we just need to go through and flesh everything out and figure out how all that's going to work with like the murder mystery one shot and stuff. Recall that square, attack to send someone to that square. This would be a really cool item, I think. That would be kind of fun. It's a good something that like a legendary would drop. So let's kind of go over what we got. I think that this is a really solid start, and I really liked thinking through it with you guys. I'm kind of, when I started it, I was leaning towards doing a lower level adventure, but I think I was definitely talked into Jack the Ripper being a higher level fight. The fight really excites me. I don't know if you guys are kind of watching, if you can look into your mind's eye and just imagine your players getting split up in this fucking maze. And Moriarty is like these like little homunculi who are just going to be these huge meat shields. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to do much damage. They're just going to be beefy. And splitting all the party up, lying to them, telling them different stories, trying to isolate them. And just getting them alone. Players are going to be freaking out. They're going to be claustrophobic. They're going to be lost in this like fucking maze. And if they, they hit a trap, they get teleported to like a random place. Moriarty's going around just dropping other traps while he does it. I think it's going to be really fun to GM for also. That's going to be, really fun to DM the fight and get in Moriarty's head and just like try to strategize how to split up the party, put the traps down in like a smart way, lure people into the, it's the opposite. They never split the party. We're splitting the party. We're absolutely getting that party split. And then you've got these homunculi wandering around that he can just swap to at any time. Feels more like we're designing a Moriarty fight than a Jack the Ripper fight. Yeah, I definitely tried to keep some Jack the Ripper type stuff into it. The daggers and the basically getting them alone and then assaulting them. But what would just a Jack the Ripper fight be? It would just be like an assassin rogue hitting them like a truck. Like imagine like a Gloomstalker assassin. That could be the Jack the Ripper fight, is we just build one of those like OP Gloomstalker assassin rogue fights and just global the players. You ever seen one of those builds where they like auto crit and do like 5 attacks on the first turn? That'd be a Jack the Ripper fight. For sure. Yeah. So how would we Jack the Ripper it up a little bit more? That's a good question. I think we got the Moriarty part of it with like the traps and the splitting them up and lying to them and stuff. So we've got the gory murder scenes. We've got the medical terms for the attack. Yeah, we could absolutely make his dagger attacks be a lot more gory. Definitely make them explosive. I think we should add some conditions that the attacks do rather than be like, oh, if it's from darkness or oh, if it's the first turn of combat. I think we could say if the person is alone that it does more damage. Oh man, you're gonna put darkness into this too? That'd be fucking mean. Darkness on top of it all would be so fucking mean. Attacks are violent and medical when a target is alone and hasn't seen or heard anyone in a round. So this is kind of a question that I would have. Would he kill them right away? Or use them as a trap? Maybe a actual... No, I don't like stat reductions. It's not my jam. I don't find stat reduction to be very fun. Look into a mechanic for this. And maybe a handout to give a player. This is just a little side note for me. I don't want to get it. Again, it's a one shot, so we have to be a little bit careful about the speed at which we play. So yeah, definitely need to make sure that the actual fighting that he does is very gory and bloody and violent. Need to delete this out of here now that we're done. Boop. Boop. Save. Yeah, I think that's essentially the gist of it, y'all. That's Jack the Ripper and Moriarty and the one-shot murder mystery. We could definitely do a lot more with it. We could make it more a multi-session and have more mysteries and twists and turns and red herrings and things to follow. Yeah. I think maybe I want to make it a little bit more isolation than that. Like, if you don't see or hear anyone, for your whole turn, then it does something extra. Like maybe make there be a benefit to trying to stay together, even though it's very hard to do so. I don't know about the darkness thing. Magical darkness or like fog cloud seems really fucking mean with everything else we have going on. But I noted it. Well, we can see if we decide we're going to be that mean to people, we can pop that in for sure. Yeah, silence would be absolutely disgusting. I think my favorite thing that we discovered today, everyone, was Nistral's magic aura. I was just not, I don't know why, if I had glossed over it or if I knew it and forgot it or what. I don't know why I seem to have missed that spell, but that's my discovery for the day. Need to go back and figure out some ways to abuse that and torture players with it because it's pretty fucking cool. It's a cool spell. Safety and numbers mechanic. Yeah, absolutely. Don't be alone out on a dark street in the catacombs, or Jack the Ripper will rip your throat out. All right, y'all. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out. I hope that was fun. I hope you have an idea what we're looking at this guy doing. I hope that you kind of see why it's going to be such an incredibly difficult encounter and why it has the label Mythic. And adding the cool little boss fight mechanics in there, I think is really fun. So I multi-session easily. I tried to keep it one-shotty. It's one-shot adjacent. Murder mysteries are hard to do single session. Because people are gonna talk and people are gonna like go through it. So we'll figure it out though. You could have the cult sweat and the little hearts in the way. Oh, we got one last question from James Rayburn. Do you plan on adding lair actions? So the way that mythic creatures work for MythCraft is they go every 2 turns. So they don't get extra actions and there's not a 20 action. There could be. I don't think this one will have lair actions, but he'll be going every 2 turns. So if you have 4 players, he's taking 2 turns per combat. If you have so on and so forth, and it could be even more than that, but they take more turns in MythCraft as opposed to legendary actions and things of that nature. I don't know as there's going to be any super environmental effects from this one. I think I like the idea of Jack doing the things and being very it being very like him doing things. It just makes sense to me. But yeah, I don't think this will have lair actions, I guess, if that's what you're asking me. I should just answer the fucking question instead of talking a whole bunch. Go get better, Grant. I need you well for the last plush on Kickstarter. Hey, man. I'm a little foggy, but I'm okay. I'm getting over it. In lieu of lair actions for that system. Yeah, I think even in the 5e version, the D&D 5th edition version will still have the mythic creatures do the double action. So, not double action. I started reading something and it kind of lost focus here. So, in the D&D 5th edition version, I think we'll still use our mythic rules because I think they work better than legendary actions. So I still think Jack in 5th edition will still go take turns more often and do a little bit less, as opposed to having its whole big turn and then a legendary action. I think it will just have more turns is how it will work. And it will be balanced around that happening. So the fight's going to feel very, legendary and feel like there's a lot happening. It's a super good question, though. All right, I'm going to head out and figure out what is next in life. Maybe take a slight little rest. And like y'all said, work on getting my sinuses and stuff fixed up. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for hanging out. Our next stretch goal is going to be a new legacy artifact. I know Nathan has been working very hard on that stuff. So keep up with everything going on there and hop in the Discord if you're not in the Discord. I think everyone that's still here is in Discord, but if not, discord.gg/mythcraft. Get your booties in there. It's the best place to be. It's where all the good stuff is happening. Thank everyone who hung out. James, thanks for pledging. I really appreciate that. I think that was highlight of my stream was getting a new pledge, and I would love to keep getting more pledges. So share with your friends, tell your friends, tell everybody Santa Claus is coming to town. And I will talk to you guys later.